Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm running a little bit late. Let me just get this up. All right, here we go. Log in. How's everyone doing today? Back again. Sorry, I couldn't trade yesterday. Let me get a screen up for you. All right, boom. We're up. We're running. Oh, look at that open. How's everyone doing? Nils, great to see you. Mark, how are you doing? Andy, Wajid, Amar, good to see everybody in the chat. Nifa, great to see you again. How is everyone doing? Okay, for some reason my screen's really dim here. How do I brightness? There we go. Oh, that's better. Thank you, Nifa. Thank you. Highland, good morning to you. Oh, look at this open. All right, let's bump up these numbers maybe to 20, I would say. I got to do my levels. All that stuff needs to be sorted. Oh, all right. We've got a ton of nice little gaps everywhere. This one I'm really got my eye on. That one looks really nice. So we'll draw that one out. Got another one just below here that we're currently in, but it's not great. And then we got one down here and we got nothing up ahead or above. Well, we do have a slight one there actually that I can draw out. We got one there. Beautiful. Okay, those are all our levels sorted. Oh, there we go. All right, Furkan, how are you? Good to see you. Crypto, Coach Z, Adam Butler, Kova. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's zoom in. Let's have a look how this open was. That was a very bearish open by the looks of it. We got our news up. I got my pen tool. Okay, I'm ready. I am ready. Let's check if I can. Yep, got the brackets, correct contract size, beautiful. All right, we are ready to rock and roll. Right, let's break down this open. All right, very bearish off the bat. Lots of sell volume came in with not much struggle, to be honest. There wasn't really any buyers. A few buyers trapped at the top here. Again, more sellers coming in. So very bearish, but we are getting a bit of buyers in this gap right now. But I'm not completely convinced these buyers are going to do much damage. Well, let's see. Let's see how the contracts are coming in. What kind of chunks we got going. Let me just check this. Okay. Oh, look at that. Really, yeah, I wasn't convinced the buyers were going to take it there. They tried to a little bit, but it's just too much sell volume at this moment in time. The sellers seem a bit, what's the word? A bit more aggressive. I'll say a bit more, a lot more aggressive. Let's put it that way. They are serious about moving this market right now. So those sellers, I don't think, those buyers, I don't think they're going to take over just yet. But we do have some good areas. I think this was the area I was really eyeing up. Yes, I was eyeing up this one. So I am potentially looking for a buy in this area here, though. Because I do think the buyers will take over again. It's just a matter of when. And do we have any significant lows? Any kind of... Okay, we've got a few. I wouldn't call them significant. I mean, obviously, the significant lows are down here. But we have an area where price kind of moves sideways for a bit. So we can just sort of mark out that low as a potential. We did kind of double top at the top here and then just a huge sell-off. I don't know. For now, I'm bearish. But I can imagine there could be a pullback here. So let's see how the contracts actually come in. We're getting into that area. I am going to get my finger on the buy button just in case. See what actually goes on. So not much at this moment in time. Oh, some decent buying happening, but that's just the first kind of. I'm seeing that more as some of these sellers getting out at break even more than anything else at the moment in time. Fresh sellers coming in. Buying is happening, and they do seem to be holding it. But those sellers are extremely, they're still aggressive. 50 there, 40 there, 100, 79. They're still way too aggressive, and they could easily break through that iceberg, in my opinion. So for me, it's not really, at least not yet. Maybe those buyers are taking over. Who knows? I'm going to give it a few more seconds. I don't know, actually. That is a lot of buy pressure just came in. I mean, they're doing all right, aren't they? Point of control's moved down, but I'm still not convinced yet. I kind of want to see maybe a bit of sideways action, a bit of, because these buyers, yes, they're coming in quite strong, but they're vulnerable. I think sellers are still very much willing to short this market on a pullback. So we kind of want to get more sellers trapped, more sellers start failing before we start. Oh, that was actually very nice. But look, big sellers are still, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, big sellers coming in again. Yeah, I don't think it was quite ready by the looks of it. See, that's the danger of chasing buy volume coming in after a bearish move, because the sellers are still happy to short it. That's the problem. So yeah, sure, the buyers were able to push it up for a bit, but ultimately sellers just came in really strong. But here is when you want sellers to fail, because then we can jump in potentially again, and after enough kind of movement, the sellers may give up. But it doesn't look like they're giving up. Look at that, they're adding to their position. There are some buyers in the market, but it's not a lot now. They're just not strong enough here. So no, that area wasn't what we expected. I think it will be the next one potentially. Maybe down here we might see a proper pullback. Who knows? But you don't want to chase the sellers just yet, because a lot of this volume it's difficult to know whether these are take profits. Are these sellers getting out the market? Do you know what I mean? Using limit orders, it's hard to kind of gauge that. I think this is a lot of fresh selling, to be honest. Just the numbers. Look at that, 400. Wow. But there's definitely an iceberg there, right? So we do have an iceberg sitting right here, because that was a 400 contracts and they still didn't push up and push down the market. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go up, but what it can mean is there's definitely it's going to take a lot more sellers to break the market down in that area. So, but the sellers are eating up the buyers. You saw a few buyers came in there, 100 something, instantly went back down again. I don't think there's enough buy aggression to get this market up just yet. But those trap sellers might be the first sign that, again, they're coming in with another 170, 120, 160, and they broke through. So they did eventually break through the iceberg. As you know, because they're just that aggressive. But there definitely was a bit of an iceberg order there. All right. But it's not ready yet. And look at that volume distribution, all the buyers at the top. We want to see sellers exit the market, essentially. Before we want to buy this, we need to see sellers exit the market and not really that interested in selling anymore. But at the moment, they're still interested. So I'm long for a quick pullback, Justin. Not a bad idea, but be very careful because this is a lot of volume on the sell side here. They are not messing about today. We will get a trade in though. The moment I see sellers fail a bit, I'm jumping in, and then I'm maybe do a quick reversal because I am not fully convinced that we're just going to. I don't know actually. I mean, we are basically in a giant range on the long term. And we did get to the top of the range essentially, and now we're just selling back off again. But that was a very dramatic sell-off. And whenever you get these kind of dramatic moves, the moment the money leaves the market, so in other words, sellers leaving the market, and cash in their chips, you can sometimes get a dramatic reversal. So I'm still counting on the fact that there will be a dramatic move up at some point. Because we're already quite far down now. Let me get my cash account ready. All right. Just need one good trade. There are some good buyers coming in, but they're doing all right. Sellers are not that interested right now. I haven't seen really any major selling happening. 160, 130. There's some decent buying going on, but I'm not convinced. Look, they might pull it up a bit. They might get back into here. And then I'm pretty sure sellers are just going to come back in. So, because I haven't really seen sellers leave. There's a few sellers coming back in, but it wasn't a lot. Because of how steep the market is, I'm pretty sure. I won't be opposed to actually shorting this market if we get a bit more of a pullback and I see heavy sellers come in. I might go in short. But at the bottom here, there wasn't interest from the sellers anymore. So this could be a bit more of a pullback this time. I'm getting ready to potentially short the market. There's a few sellers. All right, I'm going to go in, see if the sellers are interested in that gapped area. I mean, take profit can be wherever for now. Probably down at 240, roughly, around there somewhere. In terms of my stop, we got those big sellers there, so really I want my stop at like 335. That's a bit of a big stop. I don't really like it. Before I could even set my stop loss, it spiked up, but fair enough. Took me out. Yeah, this is a bit more of a dramatic pullback here. Okay, but that gives us an opportunity to short the market when big sellers come in, if they do come in. Because I'm not convinced this is the reversal yet. It's a really random place. We've got the point of control up here. I can imagine there's going to be sellers willing to enter. I can get rid of this black line, actually. That black line is... Well, I can put it up here. All right, there's some decent selling again, but they're not as good as they were. Might be an okay time to jump in again. I'm going to jump in short again, see if we can get that extension down. I can have a really tight stop. My stop would really, I don't actually like it. Stop can be up here somewhere. That's a lot of buying still coming in. I might flatten here actually. I think those sellers got eaten up. Just see if no, there's no sellers really coming in. 60, a little bit. There's 116, 200. There they are. Okay. For a few seconds there, I was like, where are these sellers? But they got to be good now. They got to be effective at pushing this market down. If they don't, then again, it's not the... No, look at that. They got eaten up. Oh, wow. Sellers came in and got eaten up. Can you believe it? I'm going to give them a few more seconds to try and actually come in again, but buyers are actually coming in higher up now. The buyers have really found their footing. This might be the full-on reversal. Who knows? Because sellers came in quite aggressive there and really didn't do much damage. They pushed it down a little bit and then just kind of failed. Yeah, I'm going to flatten here. I don't think sellers have got this. Well, it's basically at my stop, so I might as well just, all right, fine, leave it. But this gap here, is that still a gap? I don't know. Let's find out. Oh, no, it's moved down a bit. It's not great, but it's moved down a little bit. All right, a few more sellers coming in, but here, the buyers were really good because a bunch of sellers came in here and failed. Now some sell pressure coming in again. Let's see if they can get below where those big buyers came in and actually push it down now. That was very close for a moment there. All right, there's the big sellers. All right, they did come back in, but it took them for a few seconds there. They kind of failed a little bit. It got a bit touchy there. But now they're coming in, but they need to keep coming in. I have no doubt they will. After that momentum, they should be willing, but buyers are still willing to buy it as well. Come on, sellers. Oh, that's a good click. Oh, that felt amazing. That I feel like my arm grew there. That was amazing. All right, let's have a look. I'm not in my cash account, annoyingly. But that was very close to getting stopped out there. But this, I need to see sellers keep coming in. Come on, boys. Or else this could be when the buyers take over again. Fucking hell. Where are these buyers coming from? They are not taking the... Are you kidding me, buyers? This might be just a little... Come on. 117 sellers. Bring it down now. Let's get below those buyers. Come on, below that 81. Another 100. Sellers are piling it on now, which is good. But notice how they're not pushing the market down, really. That's bad. That's really bad. Come on, sellers. They're putting in volume, but they're not pushing it down. Now they're pushing it down a bit, which is okay. They just about managed to hold that on. But for a few seconds there, that was looking really bad for the sellers. It's still not looking great. I mean, they're still piling on the contracts and they're not really going down. I'm starting to lose faith in this trade, truth be told. Unless sellers really come in strong. Let's get below those buyers. There we go. Wipe them out. Good. But more buyers reloading. Look at that. 50. Boom. Out of nowhere in one chunk. There are some serious buyers in this market, but we've got to get below them. We've got to squeeze them out constantly. The buyers are certainly more efficient right now at holding this market. They're putting in way less volume and doing a lot more damage for the volume they're putting in, which is slightly worrying for the sellers. This is looking really bad. Look at all that sell volume that just did nothing. I might get out here. Unless sellers are willing to come back in again, this is not a good trade. There's a big chunk of sellers again. Come on, push it down now. 60, back to 24, 12. Look at that. Holy moly, look at that. 160 buyers coming in at the top. Nah, that's bad. Oh, all right, I'm flattening. That's not good. It's not ready. I'm getting out. There's no point even allowing it to go to my stop. That is looking terrible. All this sell volume coming in and they can't push it down. That is not good at all. I thought they surely had it on this candle here with all this volume. I thought, yeah, okay, surely now the sellers have got this. They just start failing. It can surprise you, these markets. Now it's looking a bit, the buyers are struggling here a bit. I might look at going short again now. But it is a bit sideways. All right, I'm going to go short again. Let's see if the sellers this time, we can trap those buyers and make sure they're not. Because now they're coming in again, the sellers. Those buyers are potentially trapped and failed. So let's see if this can be the move now. But we really got to get below. A bunch of buyers kept coming in around here. We really need to take out this area here. Come on, let's put a line there. Let's see if we can just, we should see a spike in volume as we get below that wick. We should see a nice spike in volume to indicate the buyers have, been stopped out. I want to see buyers get stopped. There it is, 200 instantly printed. That's a lot of buyers getting stopped out. That's what we want to see. That means buyers are willing to let go of their position rather than adding. Now, if we saw a bunch of buyers come there and a spike in buy volume, that's worrying, because that means literally like that is worrying, because that means buyers are willing to keep buying. But the original buyers are out the market, which is good, right? These are just some fresh new guys trying to jump back in. They might fail. It looks like they might fail. But the original buyers did get out the market, which is good. But come on, let's just get that pushed down now to this gap here. And obviously we took out the low. We saw a spike in volume just there. That's obviously, again, stops being hit. So it's good that they're allowing their stops to get hit. They're not completely adamant at, oh, yes, we have to be, we have to keep buying, that they're okay with getting stopped out. Of course, there's some fresh buyers trying to come back in again at these lows, which is slightly annoying. But as long as sellers can push them back, we're good. There's some sellers are willing to protect that high there. It's not really a high, but that little wick there, they're willing to protect. But I don't like what I'm seeing again. There's a lot of buying happening. Come on, let's get below them. Let's not. I mean, if we get above that 177 here, if we take out these sellers, I'll be slightly worried. So really, that black line should be my stop loss. So I'm going to put my stop just above it, just to protect it, because realistically speaking, if those sellers fail at holding the line, we could just have another drift up, and then sellers might come back in higher up somewhere and the same shit happens. So there it is. They did protect it. Good. Let's just get the home run move. Come on. One last little push down. Come on. And remember, don't be a dick for a tick. So if we see trouble in and around this area, I'd rather just take the money. Come on. Are you kidding me? Stop buying for 2 seconds and just let me. 78, 58, 29. Good. They're dropping. Come on, add more volume, sellers. We just need a little bit more. Just one pop. Come on. 107, 120, 100, 59. Ugh. 120 reloaded. Good. Come on, keep reloading. There we go. There we go. One last push. Don't one tick me. And we are. Come on. There it is. Woo. All right. It was a bit touch and go there. I'm not going to lie. It was a little bit touch and go, especially in that area there. But we did all right. Let's look at the chat. Sorry, guys. But you think that the reversal will stall and go down again? Yes, Mark. Yes. I didn't. Now I'm more interested in buying again, potentially in this gap area here. I can imagine buyers might want to come back in, and they did all right. I'm not going to lie. On this area here, they were doing quite well, especially here. I got to hand it to the buyers in this area. They did spook me. Because remember, I was short originally, like, I don't know where I was, but somewhere here I was short. And I got out because they were just, all these sellers were coming in and just failing to get it down. And a bit of buying came in and they were able to push it up. But luckily, those buyers got trapped. Sellers came back in and I jumped back in. And this is the thing with sometimes, oh, look at that. Look at that. That's definitely sellers getting out. That's looking nice. So we've seen potentially some take profits of some kind happening here. Now we don't want to jump in right away, but let's have a look what the chat is saying. One more touch of red, at least, I think. I'm sure MES. Nice. This is wild 15 minutes I'm in. I'm going to wait. I don't blame you, Andy. They had to take out shorts getting in on pullback. Nice. So they got a bit further to make you question everything, then they hit it. That's exactly it, Justin. Sometimes they push it just a little bit more, and you're like, just a little bit extra, and then, yeah. Sammy took the same trade on the cash account. Good scalp. Amazing. Well done, Romna. Kawadi, good to see you. Yeah, it's a W. You based your TP on a volume gap. Correct, Kova. I did. Yes. Mainly because, this could be an area of a pullback, a reversal. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes the market can just blow right through them. But here it's kind of stalled a bit, the market. Hasn't really retraced or anything, but it's stalled a bit. And look at all those sellers coming in. But I do think this is a lot of potentially sellers getting out the market potentially. But it looks like we just took it right out. Damn. Fair enough. Fair enough. They make it so painful to hold a short. Good morning. Good morning, JB. What is your ticks per row at currently? My ticks per row are at 20. 20. Made $675 on that drop. W for all. Amazing, Kawadi. Apple ER today. It will pump. So they are earnings report. Yeah. So they are making room for it. Could very well be. All right. Have we taken out? No, we haven't taken out the low of the day. The low of the day is almost taken out. Then I'm just going to draw out the low of the day because that's always an interesting one, right? But I can imagine a lot of sellers from the open are looking at taking their money in and around this area, right? There's going to be a lot of people leaving the market, a lot of sellers leaving the market, which gives it room for buyers to take over. And that gap, although we did kind of go over it a bit, look at all those sellers willing to short it again. So they're still interested in pushing this market down. So it's not quite ready yet. But I really do want to know because it's not, in my opinion, I don't think there's going to be that many stop losses from buyers below the low of the day or in around the low of the day. Wouldn't really make sense, right? Look at this nice big move up. Anyone who kind of bought, even if you bought here, I think most people will move their stop to significant areas and trail it, and then get taken out like here, right? Generally as a whole, it's very unlikely someone entered here, but they kept their stop there and never moved it. Unlikely, right? So if we touch the low of the day, this area here, I don't think it's going to be buyers getting stopped out per se. There's going to be an element of that, anyone swing trading or something, but unlikely. I think the majority of the volume will be the sell volume you see will actually be these sellers, wherever they entered, just basically taking profit. It's going to be take profits, and that kind of resets the market a little bit, you know? And even just before it, you're going to get people getting out the market, right? Because they want to guarantee an exit. If they got a lot of size, they want to guarantee it. So they get out a little bit before rather than where the masses get out. So I like a lot of this buy volume, is, in my opinion, it's not real buy volume. This to me looks very, very clear. That is people getting trailed out. We had a nice move down, people trailing their stops below, above like wicks and areas and whatnot, and then we just take them out basically. This is just people getting trailed out. So I'm not seeing that as real buy volume just yet. So what I want to see is kind of, yes, a little retracement up potentially, and then some kind of pullback, and then I want to see fresh buyers come in, and these sellers who came in at the pullback fail, and then we can make our move up. Does that make sense? Rather than trying to be the first person in on the move, makes it a little bit harder to. I mean, you can front run it. Don't get me wrong, but makes it a little bit harder to trade. So I do want a push back down again. I'm not willing to go short again, at least not yet, because we're so close to the low of the day. We know a lot of volume has exited the market. I don't want to be. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy who gets potentially trapped. Look at all this, because I do think there is a reversal coming. I do think buyers will take control of this market again. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll take it back up to the highs, but there's going to be a significant kind of move up, I think, the moment the sellers exit. Sammy, today, $300+ in Ola Prime. Thank you, Sam. Amazing. Well done, MM Crypto. Hi, Sammy. I need some serious help. What's up, Pyrex? How can I help? I'm back in short MES. Nice. Good morning, everyone. ZT Content, good morning. Thanks for the buy volume comment. I was itching to go long here. No problem, Mark. Got a 50K eval and was in drawdown a couple days. Account started the day at 47720, made 1,535. Account has a 50% consistency, but dashboard shows 601.96. Why? So wait a minute. Let me figure this out. You started with 50K. The account balance dropped to 47,720. You've made 1,535. So you've basically got 49,200, something like that is your account balance, right? Yeah, so that's correct. So the consistency score matters on your overall profit. So because you've gone into the negative and are now you're going back up, basically the consistency will change. If the next day, if you make profit again, it's always the total profit divided by your biggest day. Does that make sense? Or the other way around? I can't remember how you do the math. But so, for example, if you make, let's say your account profit is at 55,000, so you've made 5,000 altogether, but you made $4,000 dollars in one day. Your consistency score will be basically $4,000 of that 5,000. So it'll be what, 80%, something like that. Does that make sense? So basically, just keep making, because you're anyway in the negative. So the percentage goes all mental when you go in the negative, right? Because you've made profit, so it's calculating your overall profit on the negative. So until you go back in the positive and make a bit more money on the account, then that consistency score is going to drop massively, all right? So don't worry about the 1,500 is fine. Make another 1,500. Account is at $225 profit. Yeah. So basically it's doing 220. That makes sense. So your total profit is 225. So if you do, let me get a calculator out. So if you do 1,500 divided by 225 and then times 100, which is your, to make it a percent, it comes up around 600%. Does that make sense? So once your profit goes to your overall profit, your account profit goes to goes above 1,500, it will drop it back down to 100% and then so forth. Does that make sense? So basically make another 1,500 the next day. No, it won't make you lose the account. You just basically ignore the consistency rule for now, because until it won't in any way make you lose the account. You just cannot pass it if your consistency score is over 50%, right? So what you need to make what, 3K to pass the eval, right? So once you hit 3K, that 1,500 you made is 50% of the total profit, which is 3,000. So you're fine. But while your profit is below your biggest day, it's going to give you a ridiculous number like 600. But just ignore it for now. It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect your it doesn't actually, like, even if you make the 3K profit and say your consistency scores a little bit over 50%, 51%, you just got to make a little bit more to pass, but you will never like fail the challenge for going over 50%. All right. No problem, Pyrex. So as Neil said, you'll need like $3,070 to pass if you made, because you made a little bit more than 1,500. So basically, yeah, just to get that consistency score down. Shitsty candle 1 minute ago. Oh, okay, here's that pullback. So we had that pullback, bunch of sellers willing to come back in. Buyers, all right, so this is the interesting part here. This is getting interesting. So what we want to see, I mean, we'll probably hit the low of the day, to be fair. These sellers are coming in strong. And I don't think the buyers are ready to come back in, but we want to see sellers leave the market. There's a bit of buying coming back in, but it's I wouldn't chase it. Not yet, at least. We're so close to that low of the day. I feel like there's still a lot of take profits sitting there. All sitting here, just waiting to be triggered. So, but essentially, let's say if a bunch of sellers came in here, which they did, and they just completely failed, like say all these sellers that are in and around this area, say they failed and we went up, that's an indicator. All right, fine. I think the buyers might take this, and then take them out and we could go up. But sellers just managed to push it back down again. Yes, buyers are trying to buy at the bottom here again, hold that line. I just don't think they're going to be successful yet. And then there's too many sellers in the market still. Do I have a Discord? Unfortunately, I don't have a Discord, Manny. I don't. Up. Okie dokie. So gonna make, wait, this is 100k account, so I gotta do like 6k. Oh man, I really gotta start bumping up this lot size using 5 micros. It'll take forever to pass this challenge. To be fair, this is only one I trade on the live streams here. So there's been a lot of good opportunities a bit later on. That's generally when I trade my cash. It's been a bit better. Manny says, I would love to learn the way you trade. I also trade volume profile, low volume notes and stuff like that. I don't use footprints, so would love to learn. Perfect. I mean, keep watching these lives. It's probably the easiest way to learn is just to see it happen in real time, you know? I will need your advice. No, I'm content with my profit of the day. Thanks. Did you ever take a look at the email? Oh, yes, Mark, I did see it. I do apologize. I will get back to you ASAP. I've been trying to, the last few days, like I'm still in my Ola Prime shirt. I've been doing all these interviews because I'll be away next week. I might still be able to go live, depending. But yeah, I'll be away next week for work. So there's just so much stuff I need to do before I go away. It's been a bit manic. But I did see the indicator you sent. So I'd love to actually give it a go and test it out. Ooh. Okay, this is looking interesting. Notice how buyers came in here, right? Sellers tried to come back in, failed, fresh buyers coming in. This is the first sign that these sellers might fail. But sellers are willing to come back in again. But it's the first kind of red flag for sellers right now, this area. First little red flag. Ooh. I wouldn't want to go in long, but at the same time, it doesn't look bad. Fuck it, I'm going to go in long. I'm going to go in long, have a stop right below that candle. See if we can just get back up to that high again. Or even a bit higher. I just feel like these buyers, that was the first little red flag there. I'll keep my finger on the exit. If I see any big sellers come in, I'll just get out. Oh, come on, buyers. Nah, they just about failed. Oh, 200. No, they're reloading. They're reloading. Come on. Reload. Oh, they're eating them up. Here we go. Come on, buyers. Oh, sellers are still. Come on. One little push up. Nah. Too many heavy sellers coming in. I think. Can we get above them real quick? Or do I have to flatten here? Can we get above them? Oh, maybe. 76, 48, 58. Oh, still sellers coming in. Do I have to flatten? Nah, I do have to flatten. Look at that. A little bit too much sell pressure coming in. 122, 114. Yeah, unfortunately. Not quite. I thought maybe for a few seconds, though, it looked quite good. It looked. I don't know, actually. These sellers, again, tried to come in. Nah, they're coming in too strong. For a split second, that was the first red flag for the sellers right there. Thought maybe buyers might just take a little bit of control here. But ultimately, yeah, we still got the low of the day there. So it was a bit of a why not trade. Got cooked on longs earlier. Globex value area, previous day value area high. Composite volume profile, low volume load on the bullish leg, took limit, got cooked at 27,325. It happens, man. It happens. I mean, this was a crazy open. Let's see if those sellers fail, though. It's all about failure, because it was these guys here, and then these buyers coming in right after and getting above and squeezing them out. That gave the first sign that this could be a little move up. But it looks like sellers have gained control again. All right, they're probably going to go to the low of the day. There it is. Look at that volume. Boom. All right. I didn't see a huge spike in volume. Not quite yet. I haven't seen a massive spike. I'm trying to see if sellers are exiting. Honestly, I didn't see a massive spike in volume. I don't think sellers have left the market, believe it or not. I think a lot of sellers probably left in and around this area here. They left a bit early. Just trying to see what happens right after that we took out the low of the day. Again, buyers willing to come back in. No. Buyers aren't doing too good. Planton Marcel, Nvidia's bleeding. It's about time. Nvidia's been... I mean, it's crazy. Crazy how big Nvidia is. What goes up must come down, right? Oh, those sellers started to fail. It would be a bit risky to jump in, but those are the first signs of sellers failing. It would be risky to jump. I'm going to jump in for a buy. It is risky. Don't get me wrong. Very, very risky. But that was the first sign of sellers failing. Maybe we can get a bit of a push up. I'm talking, back up to these kind of highs, maybe this one. In terms of stop, well, yeah, it's got to be below there. Where my stop is about right. But that was the first sign of sellers failing. It wasn't a huge amount, though. That was the only thing. I wanted to see a bit more sell pressure. But now, as long as buyers keep up a bit of momentum here, we can go up. I've got my finger on flatten. Come on. Keep buying. 67, 46, 100, 87, 69. Nah, they're not pushing it up. They're not putting enough volume in. Come on, boys. Keep that momentum up. 78, 90, 80, 60. I need bigger chunks. Give me like 130 or something. Give me something decent. Come on. Give me decent. 109. They keep getting eaten up here. But it could just pop right through. It's a bit of an iceberg, but it could just pop. Come on. 130. Boom. I completely guessed that 130 was the magic number, but it seemed to be. That was pure luck. I just said 130 is like a random number. And it was 130 that pushed the market up. There it is. It's the first little sign of failure, but let's see how far we can go. I got my finger on flatten because truth be told, it could fail anywhere here. But we can put our, take profit really high up here somewhere. Because if buyers just keep that momentum, there's a good chance we can keep going. But this is 80. Oh no, it looks like they're failing. Come on. Sellers are coming back in at the high here. Ah, you bastards. Come on, give me a bit more. 26, 84, 57. All right, they're eating it up. Back down to 11. Good boy. Come on. That's it. 94. Let's pop up. 116, 105, 124, 140. Ah, they're getting eaten up by another iceberg. Sellers have reloaded it back to negative 41. I think this is where sellers potentially might take over again and buyers fail. I'm going to give them another few seconds to try and make some magic happen here. 48, 60, good, 90. Buyers are still willing, which is good. As long as they're willing, I'm happy to hold for a bit. Come on, break past that iceberg. You can do this. 103, 70, 86. They're getting eaten up. The volume is just not there. Look at that sell volume coming in below. Come on, buyers. Nah, it's not going to happen. Come on, buyers. This is your last chance. Otherwise, I'm getting out. Get below that wick. I'm out. Take the little money that it gave me, and I'm out. Just, they were failing there. They just, I don't know, they were failing. Any tips on getting out of break-even phase? I'm trading since 10 months, can't seem to get a payout. It depends on why you keep going break-even, as in like why you always end up flat. But you know what? Look, being break-even is better than being a losing trader. So you're doing a lot better. 10 months in, you're doing a lot better than you think. So don't beat yourself up for it. I would say maybe you're not holding your good trades long enough, but the footprint really gives you that. Oh, look at that. They did take it over. Bastards. Ah. See, prime example right there. Could have held that trade a little bit more. Been a little bit more patient and waited for those buyers to come in. And man, what a joke. But I mean, it happens to all of us, right? You just, sometimes we're a bit too cautious, other times we're a bit too risky. It really comes down to yeah, I don't know. But I would say maybe, I mean, why do you think you keep going? Why you're kind of remaining flat? Is your win rate roughly 50%? Is it risk reward that's causing the issue? Like, you have to look at your stats and kind of figure out where you're going wrong, When you said 130, boom, it's like that swoosh video by Order Flow Trader. Oh, I think I know which video you're on about. Yeah. I know what you're on about. It's the guy from Deep Charts, right? Valentino, I think his name is. But I think I know what you're on about. I just can't hold my trades long enough. It probably is that. And I think once you learn like the footprint, reading the footprint, it gives you that little bit more confidence to hold sometimes. And also when to get out a bit better. Don't get me wrong, you're still going to get it wrong on occasions. Like, it's not a magical tool. You can only react to what the footprint's showing you. But like, all right, fine. I probably shouldn't have got out just there. I did because I just thought, nah, the sellers are just going to come back in and take over. But then, a few seconds later, buyers did decide to come back in. But at that moment, I had no idea that those buyers will come back in. But what we're seeing now, look, fresh sellers coming back in, trying to get this market down. They were somewhat effective. This is not a lot of volume, but you're starting to see that kind of, starting to look a bit bullish now, right? Just how the buyers are. Like, I wouldn't want to jump in yet because those big sellers over there. I feel like sellers need to push it down a little bit more. But I wouldn't be opposed to start looking at buying. What am I up? 512. That's not bad. Oh, look at that failure right there. So like, I just want to see if buyers want to come in, because there was failure from the sellers. I haven't jumped in yet. They managed to take it again. But notice how, there was that bit of failure from the sellers and the candle went up. If buyers were to come in then, quite strong above them, I would have touched that buy button. But sellers managed to bring it back down again. So not ready. And yeah, sellers took over again. All right. But now we want to see sellers fail. If we want to go for a buy, we need to see those sellers fail at some point, right? But they want to fail with volume, Manny, you're doing great. If you're breaking even, keep going. I'd be selling if I could break even for a month. Exactly. No, you're doing really well, Manny. Dawood, where to find this volume indicator? So Dawood, it's not an indicator, it's a chart type called volume footprint. There's a video on my channel called How to Set Up the Volume Footprint on TradingView. If you watch that video, it explains exactly how to set it all up, because you need the premium version of TradingView, then you need to get the right data feed. So you need to get the CME data feed, so you actually get the data from the correct exchange. So there is a little bit of a setup involved. But yeah, if you watch that video, it shows you how to set it up, okay? So what we're looking for, potentially, again, sellers try to come in. Now, don't get me wrong, they didn't necessarily fail, but buyers are trying to squeeze them out here. But buyers, you see, they're just not strong enough right now. Their numbers are dropping. 1436. Okay, they've reloaded a bit. But I want to see real failure from the sellers like that. I'm in for a buy. And I can have a stop just below that candle, because it was right there where the sellers failed. If the sellers come back in and push it down and below this candle, this move is not right. But there was a chunk of buyers that came in above those sellers quite quickly. I'm counting on those buyers being able to push this market up short term. But if not, again, like, they are coming in, but they might not actually make it here. We need to see more volume. That's it, a bit more volume. I got it at a bit of a bad price as well. Just hoping the buyers can have enough oomph just to break above here. They keep getting eaten up as well. It's a bit choppy. If we take out basically this candle's low, where this move ain't happening, because it was right here is where the buyers came in, right? That took advantage of those sellers, tried to get it up. It's those guys that I'm betting on right now. 67, 85. So I'm just counting the numbers, keeping my finger on flatten just in case. 49, 30, 47. I want to see bigger numbers come in. Come on. Reload. 60. Good. 69. Oh, don't want to see that minus 60. I don't want to see that minus 80. Come on, get above that minus 95. Fail. Oh, that's it. That's it. Squeeze them out. Perfect. Keep it going. Come on. Oh, almost. 60, 39. Good. 30, 6. Oh, they've reloaded again, those sellers. Fuck. They came in strong there. It was right there. You saw the sellers coming in. It looks like we're probably going to fail here unless those buyers can defend. Looks like we might fail here and get stopped out. But no, the buyers are defending. So you can see those buyers that I'm counting on, that initially, the ones that I entered with or entered because of them, they defended, which is good. But we know that there's a big freaking seller up here. So it's now a battle between that seller and that buyer. When you're in a situation, oh yes. Now that's what I'm talking about. That buyer is meaning business. Good. I mean, that was a bit lucky that they just entered in one big chunk. Let's push this a bit up. They could have very easily failed there, but they took out that seller. That's what I wanted to see. Good boy. All right, let's see if we can just keep it going now. Oops, shit, what am I doing? I don't want to do that. I accidentally right-clicked. We don't want to see failure now from the buyers. If sellers try and take control, we got that high here. There's obviously going to be a lot of stops and whatnot sitting up there. We need to take them out, and we want to see buyers willing to buy higher up. So we're looking at the buy numbers. Are they increasing? So far, they're still increasing, which is good, right? And then we want to see a spike in buy volume indicating sellers have been stopped out. Somewhere here, we want to see a spike. Bit of a spike there. Nice. Got my finger on flatten because generally once people get stopped out, they use it as an opportunity to jump back in a lot of volume because they see it as like, oh, it's a really good price. So unless buyers keep reloading and keep that market momentum going, there could be a pullback. Yeah, and it looks like, come on, buyers, keep 81, 100, get above them quickly. Good. When you get that quick movement above heavy volume, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Beautiful play here. Beautiful from the buyers, but they can't fail here. They need to keep it up. Keep that momentum. The moment the momentum dies off, like it's there a little bit, starting to die off now. Oh, no, it's back a bit. Now it's starting to die. Ever so slightly, you're seeing that momentum dying off on the buy side. That's generally when indicating there could be a pullback. So I'm probably, any second now, I might get out. Oh, no, there's a bit more momentum. Oh, it's a bit of a battle. Come on, boys. I'm going to get out. It's just the buy numbers weren't becoming big anymore, They just sort of died off for a bit. They're a bit bigger now, 100. But notice how they're just struggling a little bit. But yeah, this. So sometimes even looking at the footprint when it's closed, it doesn't show you the full picture, right? You only see it in real time. So although here it doesn't really look like anything, we know a big buyer came in there because that was all sell numbers, right? Good sell. And then instantly the candle just shot up and wiped out all the sellers. I mean, it closed at -6 and -4, but for the most part, it was, just wiped them out, right? And then buyers came in, and that's why I jumped in there, because it was the first kind of instant failure from the sellers. This, yeah, was a bit lucky. I'm not gonna lie. Sellers did come back in and try to take control. Oops. Right here, we kind of saw them coming in here. And look at that, sellers. Oh, it's good for that exit there. But you saw them failing. The buyers weren't really anymore adding to their position massively. And that gave enough of a gap for the sellers to come in and take control again. And it's just, it is what it is. So that's scalping 101, really. You've got to get out when you see it failure on your side. You just have to accept it. Whether you're, 1 point in profit, 10 points in drawdown, doesn't matter. You just got to get out when you see that failure, And then, yeah, but those buyers that came in again, they defended their position really nicely. They're back at their kind of entry point now. And they came in heavy and pushed that market up a bit. So it was nice. Thanks, we'll watch. Awesome, Dawood. I think it's coming down. You cooked my boy. Thank you, Sandy. Good to see you again. Oh, sorry. You caught 60 points. Beautiful. ZT Content says, you know, Sammy, this delay in the live stream is a bit of an issue because I myself, and I'm probably not the only one, am seeing and hearing your information at least 10 to 20 seconds late. In other words, my price on the chart is ahead of yours. It's only like 2 seconds delayed for me. ZT, try double clicking like the fast forward button on YouTube. Does that make sense? So there's like, just kind of make sure you're, you know, the actual, what do you call it? Timer thing is right, you know, to the right hand side. Like there's no, is anyone else experiencing the issue? About 2 seconds. That was my first winning trade with Footprint. Amazing cover. Maybe it's because I'm in California. I'm in Europe on fiber. I'm in Cali too, my guy. Is everyone else here in the part of the world? Are you live every day? Yes, Manny, pretty much every day. There's going to be some days, unfortunately, that I can't make the stream, but I'm pretty much live most days. Yeah. Make sure the dot in the bottom left of the stream is red and not gray. I don't know what to say, ZT, man. I think it just depends. Yeah. I don't know how to fix that, unfortunately. Hello, Sammy. I have a delay also around 10 seconds. Oh. Hit the live button. It will move forward as much as it can next to the volume control. So it looks like sellers have took control again. But it does look like we're in a bit of a range. You know, just right now we're sort of looking a bit rangy as buyers and sellers battle it out, essentially. I'm pretty sure I can get rid of what was a gap at one point. That's pointless now. I mean, that's been traveled through so many times. And all the volume, the only major gap left is kind of at the top here. But all the volume as a whole is kind of just like the volume profile. I wouldn't say there's really anything to look at here, to be honest. There's a bit of drop off in volume there, so I'm going to keep that one marked out. But apart from that, there's nothing really major gap wise. So we're just going to have to, you know, footprint trade it. Raw footprint trading. We don't really have any levels we can play with. Obviously, we've got the low of day now, which has been updated to here. But what it is showing, notice how sellers are still willing to short the market and take control, even on generally shallow pullbacks, right? These haven't been huge retracements, and sellers are willing to jump in, which kind of leads me to believe we might keep going lower. Because I expected we hit the low of the day, a lot of sellers will leave, and kind of, you know, because we had such a good sell-off, I kind of expected sellers to, you know, cash in their chips and call it a day pretty much. Not really be that interested anymore in shorting it. But overall, they're still very interested in shorting this market, leading me to believe that we might not get that pullback or that reversal. And, you know, we might range a bit as buyers try and take over, but ultimately fail. And then we just go in for another leg down. That's kind of where I'm shifting my bias to now. I no longer believe we're going to go up. So I'm going to start looking at shifting my bias to be bearish and look for more bearish opportunities rather than bullish ones right now. Because sellers just haven't given up. They're still very eager at selling. And when they do come in, they come in hard. Look at that. Look at this volume the sellers are willing to put into the market. You know? For whatever reason, big players still want to push this market down. So, all right, fine. Who am I to tell them not to, you know? Obviously, there's lots of buyers still coming in as well. They're seeing this as a prime opportunity to try and get a good price to get the market up. And we've got that sideways movement now because of that. People are just locking horns. But I'm becoming less and less confident in buying. I believe there is a minimum 6-second lag on YouTube. Does prior swing low give you a level to go long with favorable footprints? So let me read that again. Does the prior swing low give you a level to go long with favorable footprints? It's not so much. I mean, I don't really care about the footprint data on these lows, right? So like this low here, which was a prior swing low, right? I don't really care what the footprint has printed in, like, you know, each individual cluster, because the reality is the people who did enter here, they're long gone out the market. They don't really affect the market anymore. They're long gone. They've already made their money. They've exited ages ago, most likely, right? Maybe a few people might still be in it, but the mass majority of the volume is out the market. So it just becomes more of a human psychology thing, right? The fact that it is a low, you're going to expect sellers to exit at that low, take money out the market. And when sellers have hit their take profit, most people just stop, right? No point keep shorting it. You know, it doesn't make any sense, or it's very unlikely, unless there's a genuine, like a big catalyst in the market, like news or something. It's very unlikely people will want to short at a significant low when logic will tell you everyone is leaving that low. You know, all the sellers are exiting. Why would you want to enter? So it gives that opportunity. It opens up a door for buyers to potentially step in and get that market up, right? No, with a long footprint at the moment. Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying. My bad, Mark. Sorry. Sorry. So your question, does the price swing low give you a level to go along with favorable footprints? So I like to have like an overall bias in terms of, so before I was more bullish at these lows, but seeing how the sellers are so adamant still to short and are still willing to put in quite a bit of volume into this market, I'm starting to switch my overall bias into bearish, right? I could completely be wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like, this market could shoot up. Buyers could just overpower the sellers, and the sellers then eventually do give up, and then we go up. But since they're still quite adamant, these sellers, I'm going to bet on the sellers now, you know? So when we get to these lows, now I don't want to short at these lows, but sorry, I don't actually know what your question is. Does the prior swing low give you a level to go long with favorable footprint? What do you mean by, like, what exactly are you asking, Mark? I'm a little bit confused exactly what you're asking. It just traps shorts, in my opinion. Awesome day, Sammy. Thanks for the stream. You take it easy. May the green be with you. Thank you, Andy. Have a great day. Oh, but look at these buyers, though. They're starting to print decent volume as well. And they're buying higher up. Maybe the buyers will take it. But it's very hard to know when you're in a range, because the range can kind of mess with the way you see the market, because on the moves up, you're like, oh, the buyers look really good. And on the moves down, you're like, oh, the sellers look really good. But that's exactly why it's a range, you know? Buyers are very good, sellers are good. Buyers are very good, sellers are good. Buyers are very. So you keep flip flopping in your overall bias, and you're like, oh, maybe it will go up, maybe it'll go down, because all it takes is buyers to stop buying near the high, sellers to start shorting, and then we go back down again. And again, you're seeing that kind of happen already. 31.12. You've seen a few sellers starting to come in, not huge amounts. You've seen a little bit of a trickle of sellers coming in, and you're not seeing the buy numbers really spike up massively, right? They're kind of small numbers. And realistically speaking, you need big buy numbers to come in to get that market up. You have to, we need buyers willing to buy at the top of the range aggressively to get to break through. And it doesn't, all right, they're starting to buy. Look at that. Now their volume is coming in. So these are the buyers, literally what I just said. We need buyers to come in aggressively, heavy at the top of the range in order to have a breakout. And they are starting to do that now, right? And buyers actually are, we're about to break out. We just did. We just broke out. So naturally, they need to be willing to add more and more and more, and then we can keep going up. So there you go. That was a perfect timed example right there. I will look left and see a swing low that hasn't been reached yet. So I'm saying if the price returns to that prior swing low, I am looking to go long under positive footprint data. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, don't be afraid to go long on but it depends what happens when it actually touches it, right? So you would only want to go long if two things happen. So take, all right. So take that low there, right? Let me just make this a bit bigger. This low here, right? When it touched it, what we want to see are essentially two things if you want to go in long. You want to see sellers fail, right? And real sellers, not this 100. This 100 could very easily be just stops getting hit because it's unexplored. We're below that low. We know there's going to be stop losses somewhere in this area, right? And then just as we poke below that low there, all of a sudden a big spike in volume. That's most likely stop losses, right? So we want to see real sellers come in and fail. And we don't see that until, like, if we mark out this low here, we don't see the sellers fail until here, right? These are fresh sellers. We know they're fresh because it can't be stop losses because otherwise they would have been triggered here already, right? We already explored that part. So these are real sellers trying to play the breakout. Buyers came in, they failed to get it lower, and then buyers come in heavier above them. And it's these buyers that will indicate we're probably going to go up, right? So it's like you're looking for that kind of pattern, right? You're looking for real sellers, fresh sellers to fail. So not these guys. These guys look like sellers failing, but actually they're most likely just stop losses getting hit, right? As same with these buyers. They're probably not real buyers. There could be an element of some real buying happening, of course, but it could also be, some of these sellers, wherever they are in this area here or maybe up here, just getting out, getting stopped out or exiting manually as we got to the bottom of the range and then a quick kind of reversal. That's all it could be, right? Or those sellers at the bottom here could just be other sellers taking profit. It could be some sellers taking profit, put their TP there. We don't know. But either way, it's not real sell volume. Unlikely that's real buy volume. The real battle doesn't start until these candles here. These are the candles that are going to tell you what's most likely going to happen next, right? So again, this is kind of unexplored territory a bit. So it's more likely It's going to be, sellers getting stopped out at, in profit. So we can ignore that. Here's some real selling coming in, right? This is some real selling coming in, and they're still quite good at pushing this market down. All these guys are real sellers, right? Now, it's the heavy sellers at the bottom here who start failing. We start getting above them, especially around here. This is where you're like, okay, maybe these are real buyers as well. These are all real fresh buyers coming in, right? And they seem to be doing better. Imagine if you sold here somewhere. If you're one of these sellers, you're probably going to have a stop around here somewhere, right? And look, as we kind of broke above that high here, we're seeing a big spike in buy volume happen. That's a lot of these sellers here getting stopped out. That's them out. So, you could have jumped in anywhere in this kind of area if you're front running it a bit, if you want to be a bit more cautious, not cautious, but you want to be a bit more risky. You could have jumped in here. Your stop will have to be, there. And, you target wherever, right? You can target the highs here. You can go for a more of an extension, whatever. That's entirely up to you. But it doesn't truly get confirmed until like probably here, I would say, would be like a true confirmation of the move where you feel a bit better. Because the moment those sellers, right, these sellers here got stopped out, which is there, more sellers tried to come back in and instantly failed again. That's when yeah, we're probably going to go up for a little bit. And so you kind of got to read it like a story, right? Look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that volume. That 350, that was posted 350 in one go. Where was it? Right here. Again. Look at this, 400. Now the question is that real buyers or are those take profits, stops? Let's have a look. Does it line up with anything interesting? Not really, not anything too obvious. It will be a bit weird. I mean, you can argue that there could be some stop losses sitting, above this high here, above that high, but it is a little bit of movement. You would expect it a bit lower down, maybe. Maybe some people would be a bit cautious, but the fact that it all spiked up there, I don't think that's necessarily stop losses getting hit. I think that's a lot of real buying happening because it doesn't really match up with structure perfectly, right? Those big clusters. So those could be real buyers coming in, right? And if they get defend, so if we drop back down into this area and we see a lot of buying come back in and defending that position, kind of confirms those are real buyers, right? So I do think the reversal potentially might be happening. Let me get rid of those lines. There we go. Looks a lot better. I don't know why I've got this on. Oh, okay. This is like a little. Yeah, it's not great, but I'll keep it on the chart. So yeah, I would be bullish again. I know I said earlier that I'm starting to switch to bearish, and that was just mainly down to the sellers willing to still short, but ultimately the buyers took over. Now we want to look in the footprint. Are sellers still willing to short that aggressively, or have they just given up? And by the looks of it, they've kind of given up, right? For now. Like we're not seeing huge sellers really coming in anymore. The last time we saw big sellers was really at the around here, which would make sense. That would be, in this area here where it's still very much part of that range. So it kind of makes sense. Sellers are trying to last attempt to try and get this market down. They got eaten up, and in this candle, they're backing off now, and now it should be a bit more smooth sailing up until the next area where sellers might see it as a good area to short, and that would probably be in and around these kind of highs here, this little area here. It's all a bit spiky, So it's not like a perfect area, but anywhere within that kind of area, you would expect some selling to start coming in again. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to go down, but what it does mean is that it's going to make the buyers slow them down a little bit, right? If sellers do start coming in. And if buyers decide to take profit, get out the market and be like, okay, we're not willing to keep adding more size in this area, but they are still willing to keep adding. You're seeing that volume come in? They're still willing to buy higher up. So buyers are still going to take control of this market, right? Until we get to a point where you just see that buy volume die off and they're just no longer really interested in buying. Then you can start looking at exiting the market potentially, right? Because that would be the first indication that we might pull back a little bit until buyers are willing to jump back in and buy it up again, right? But buyers are still kind of adding 40. Now some sellers are starting to come back in. It's the first little bit of sellers coming in, 85, 65, 80, 60, 49. But notice how we went from 80 to 40. That means there's still buyers buying it up, but sellers are reloading. Look at that. Reloaded it to 100, 95, 74, 80, 93. So they're a bit kind of 50-50 in that area. Buyers and sellers are both kind of willing to transact here. So unless buyers come in really strong or sellers come in really strong, we might just sort of hover around here for a little bit. Adam Butler, good to see you. I'm in on ES correlated pair. NQ took the low, ES didn't win with good buying numbers on footprint chart. Very nice, very nice. That's great. Learning to interpret the prior candles and what they represent rather than just looking at the active footprint alone. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, look at that. See, sellers just didn't put in enough size. Buyers are willing to come back in again. It's looking nice. Now we do expect, you've got a question as well, where are buyers looking to exit, right? Because this was a very steep move down, especially at the open, right? So if you're just looking at purely structure, imagine you were one of these buyers. Imagine you got in here somewhere. Where would you target? Well, that's kind of an obvious spot, right? You're going to get some take profits in and around that area, right? But where else are there just obvious areas where people would target? Probably in and around this area here as well. We obviously got the high of day and all that kind of that's a really obvious one, but that's still far away. But it's not really any major kind of really nice area where you can be like, oh, that's a beautiful place to target for a take profit. I think generally it'll be around here, maybe at this area here, which used to be support, could act as resistance now. So we might get some take profits there. We'll probably get some here. They're going to be scattered a bit about, right? Now, if too many people leave, if too many buyers leave here, decide to exit the market, that can give an opportunity for sellers to take over again if sellers are willing to short, right? And sell. And then this is nothing more than a decent pullback, and then we just get a continuation down, right? Now, if buyers are not willing to exit here, only a few exit, and are willing to keep buying as well higher up, and they're okay at buying, there's a lot of buyers willing to buy this high up, we can just keep going up and keep going up and keep going up and keep going up until eventually buyers decide to exit, whenever that is. And the only way we know where they're exiting, okay, we can use logic on obvious areas, but also the footprint, you know. Do we see big spikes in volume happening? And we saw a bit of a spike here, like definitely some take profits happening here. That 238 matches up to that high that we just circled. Even potentially some of these guys here, right? Because it's anywhere within this kind of area you would expect take profits to be, right? So there's definitely some buyers taking profit. So we know a lot of this volume that looks like buy volume is actually buyers getting out the market, cashing in their chips, right? That's real buy volume right there. Now notice how different the real buy volume is when it does come in. Look how it moves the market a lot better than just, take profits. And the reason we know that's real buy volume is because it can't be take profits, right? Because otherwise they would have been triggered here, they would have been triggered here. We've already traveled in that area, right? So any volume coming in an area that we've already explored, like in the last few candles, so between these kind of brackets, is all real volume. These are real fresh buyers coming in aggressive to get that market up. This volume here could be take profits. It could be stop losses. Hard to really know, right? Because it's unexplored territory. But that's real buyers, and they really came in aggressive and pushed that market up. JB, good to see you. VWAP at 27.357. Does that factor in point of interest? 27.357. So that was a while back. I'm assuming you messaged that a while back. I mean, VWAP is always a point of interest. It's known to work. I personally don't really have it on my chart, but yeah, VWAP is definitely something to keep your eye on. Thank you, Sam. I end today. Thanks for your work. See you soon. Crypto, have a great one. I'll see you tomorrow. Pyrex, are you using a decently powerful computer setup, Sammy? Every time I start the footprint charts, my laptop it starts going off. Yeah, you're gonna need mine's not super powerful, like 16 gigabyte RAM. It's just a standard kind of. It's nothing too powerful, but it's good enough to load the footprint. Thankfully, I think it helps as well with TradingView being cloud based. Their servers are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but if you're using like a traditional, order flow software that's like native to your PC, it's tough. I'm sure MES nice at that bump. Buyers came in right at the line. They did. Yeah, so again, most likely a form of, take profits, something like that. Stops getting hit. So a lot of that buy volume I would just ignore. It's not real volume. These are the people we want to keep our eye on. This 133 and 139. Now, if we drop into that area and we see buyers, we're coming back in again, it's a great time to buy it, right? Because they're defending. These guys actually got money on the line. They're in the market and they've got money. They've got size. So let's see. Or if we see a bunch of sell volume spike up in that area, we know that they're getting out at break even and they're out the market, right? So we want to keep an eye on the volume as we get into the overall this kind of area here, because this is going to indicate what might happen next. So that is a lot of sell volume coming in, but it's not, I don't think it's real sell volume. I think that's a lot of those buyers potentially getting out at break even. We're not seeing huge buyers come in yet defending, but we'll give them a few seconds. Are they willing to defend? We're not really seeing it. So, in my opinion, what's happened, that buyer who came in here, I think they're out the market. I think they got out. They stayed in, the market retraced, and then instead of adding to their position to try and get the market up, they just exited. So I wouldn't rely on these people anymore. But there are some buyers coming in now higher up who could push this market up. And I think a lot of that sell volume was, unfortunately, buyers exiting rather than true sell volume. So again, I wouldn't want to short the market because I know that's not real sell volume. But I also don't want to buy it until I see real buyers come in heavy. So this is kind of like no buy, no sell here. You don't want to do anything here. Like this might be element of real selling. This volume here coming is real. There's some real buyers coming in, 90, 93. These are the people you want to kind of keep your eye on. These are the people who now need to hold the line. So you could go in long and have your stop literally below that 93, right? Because if they fail, all right, you're out. Like you're wrong. And they almost failed there. If your stop is like here, you would still be in the market, but notice how they got eaten up quite quick. Maybe they might add a bit more, but you can have a super tight stop here, you know, and I think, yep, you'd be out. All right, no big deal. These buyers are starting to fail, or you might have just got ticked out, but either way, you're waiting for like the real buyers to come in, basically, and they just got eaten up. Boom. So this is like a very choppy area. It's kind of yeah, it's not great. Let's put it this way. Let me get rid of these black lines real quick because they're starting to slowly annoy me. Ah, shit. The time's ready, 4:06. I have like a few minutes left on this stream. And then, unfortunately, I do have an interview I need to do where I need to leave. But I'll look at the chat. Oh, there's some buyers coming in. Let's see what happened. But buyers came in on the line. Kova says, Sammy, do you see any value in imbalances? Yeah, I mean, yeah. The problem is, again, it comes down to context. An imbalance could be just highlighting, you know, I mean, there's imbalances everywhere. Like, that's a big buy imbalance. For sure, that would be a buy imbalance, right? I don't know. I have to actually look at the buy and sell and see if it's 3 times more. But most likely, 3 times more buying or whatever than selling. There's the buyers came in. Those are the buyers, right? That you want to look at. These are the real aggressive, fresh buyers. But anyway, but again, it comes down to context. Like you don't want to jump in for a buy on an imbalance, but it's actually buyers taking profit. Do you know what I mean? You want to, as long as you know that that's most likely take profits. These are, you know, as long as you can read kind of, and sometimes it's hard to read, but if it's hard to read, then you just ignore it. That would be kind of my bet. But like here, we know for sure 1,000,000,000%, this is real buying. It can't be stop losses. It can't be take profits because we already traveled through that area. This price area was already explored in the last candle. It's not going to be stops or take profits. So it has to be real aggressive buying. There's no other option for it. And all right, they managed to push the market up. These are the new players in town. These are the people who've got skin in the game. They're the ones, if we retrace into that area, we want to hopefully expect them to defend. If they don't defend and get stopped out, then we're also out. But it gives us the highest probability chance, do you know what I mean, of following the right volume. So you do want to chase volume, but you want to chase the correct volume. You want to chase entries, not exits, you know. JB, thank you for your work. Have a good day. JB, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. But guys, unfortunately, yeah, I do have an interview I need to conduct, so I have to go. But great little session today. It was very nice. I don't know what I did. Oh, I'm like $15 away from $1,000. Nah, anyway, it's fine. But yeah, really nice day today. Good market. I'll catch you all tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow again, same time. So I'll see you all then. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll catch you then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.